What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and welcome to the Sports Dude Hine Show. Today is September 8th, 2021. The NFL season starts tomorrow with the NFL, first game of the year with the Dallas Cowboys taking on the NFL Super Bowl champs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Trying to hurry up and finish, some of these, record predictions here. I just recently did one of the San Francisco 49ers, so make sure to go check that out. This one is also of another NFC West team. The NFC West is a very, very tough division. This team record prediction video is of the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks have been in the playoffs the past several years now with Russell Wilson. Wilson's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They have a really, really nice young star and wide receiver, DK Metcalf. So let's go ahead and get started with these predictions here. Week 1 at Indianapolis, I have them losing here. I know it's not even 100% guaranteed that Carson Wentz is playing, but I just think, Seattle, I mentioned it, earlier on another video, they're just so inconsistent. They can never play great defense and great offense at the same time. The Colts, however, do that quite often. They have a fantastic offensive line, a really nice defense, one of the best linebackers in the NFL in Darius Leonard. If Wentz plays, I think he's going to surprise some people and play really, really, really good this year. With this being in Indianapolis, I feel like that has a deciding factor as well. If this was in Seattle, maybe I would pick the Seahawks here. But for this being Carson Wentz's possibly first game in Indianapolis, you don't know the new play calls. You don't really know how to scout him for a team he's never been on before. So I want to have the Seahawks lose here to the Colts and drop to 0-1. Week 2, they play another AFC South team. That is the Tennessee Titans. This is a home game here. I have them picking up the victory. The Titans are one of those teams you have no idea what team you're going to expect. The Titans can beat a team like the Chiefs, then they can lose to a team like the Lions. For instance, they beat some top teams last year, but they also lost to the Bengals, who only had 4 wins last year. The Titans, everybody talks about them getting Julio Jones, which is a really nice acquisition in the offseason. They also lost Corey Davis. They lost Johnny Smith. They lost their offense coordinator, Arthur Smith, to be the next head coach of the Falcons. The Titans, to me, are not as good as people think. Their defense was horrendous last season. I like the Seattle Seahawks' chances here, especially at home against the Titans here in Week 2. Week 3, the Seahawks get a very, very, very impressive road victory against the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Vikings are going to be really underrated, really, really good this year. I've mentioned it on many videos, but I feel like it might take a couple weeks for this Viking team to kind of get going. And I would not be surprised if we saw the Seattle team go into Minnesota, pull off, in my opinion, an upset victory, because I honestly believe the Vikings will probably have a better record than the Seahawks this season. That would be a great win for them. With this, they improved to 2-1. Week 4 at San Francisco, this is very interesting because I feel like this is a possibility around the time frame where we might see rookie quarterback Trey Lance start. If he does start, I think Seattle will lose. If Garoppolo starts, I would say I still think Seattle's going to lose. The fact that San Francisco had so many players in IR last season and were still in playoff contention the majority of the year, Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, 2 very, very underrated wide receivers who I think are going to have great years this year. George Kittle, you can make a case the best tight end in the NFL right now. And with this being in San Francisco, I just do not see the Seahawks winning this year. They dropped to 2-2. Week 5 against the LA Rams. The Rams are the best team in the division. It's not even close. You can make a case of the best team in the NFL. I don't think it's that. I have a bold take to say they are the best team in the NFL, honestly. The Rams, I just do not see them beating the Rams at all, especially with their inconsistent defensive play at times last year. The Rams had an amazing offense. Jared Goff threw over 4,000 yards. He led them to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Imagine what the Rams are capable of with Matthew Stafford, who's been a top 10 quarterback for several years and one of the more underrated quarterbacks of the past couple of decades. I don't see the Seattle Seahawks beating the Rams here. I don't think they're going to be able to stop their offense. They dropped to 2-3. Week 6 at Pittsburgh, I definitely see them getting a win here. The Seattle Seahawks offensive line, that is a little bit of an issue. Russell Wilson was outspoken about it in the offseason, said he wanted an improved offensive line. They improved it slightly, but not really as much as you would expect. I'm playing against a great defense like the Steelers. Might give Wilson, some struggles from time to time, but I feel like this, Seattle defense, despite it being inconsistent, can stop this Pittsburgh offense because the Pittsburgh offense is nothing to brag about at all. Despite this being in Pittsburgh, at Heinz Field, the Steelers aren't going to be as good as people think. But regardless if the Steelers are really, really good or really, really bad, it's always very, very hard to get a road victory in Heinz Field. And I think the Seahawks will do that and improve back to 300, 500, getting their record to 3-3. Week 7 against the New Orleans Saints, I have them losing this matchup. The Saints, to me, are one of those teams you really don't know what to expect this season. They lost a couple of key contributors on their defense, like Trey Hendrickson and, a couple other players as well. Michael Thomas is on the PUP list, and so he should be coming back right around this point. I feel like that would be a huge boost to the Saints offense. Will desperately need him back. I don't think Winston's going to be as bad as people think he will be. I think they're going to be passing a ton against this, Seattle secondary. This is kind of one of those games where every single team has that one game every single year where you go into a game, you're fully expecting a win, and you just blow it, and you suck, and you lose. I feel like this can kind of be a case with the Seahawks. They're the better team, obviously. They have the better quarterback, they have the better offense, but this is one of those games where in the NFL, every team has it. You just lose, and just an unacceptable loss. But this is Seattle's, and they draw to 3-4 with that loss. Week 8 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence against Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league for getting close to be a decade now, which is just crazy. Then Trevor Lawrence, who has potential to be one of the better quarterbacks in the next decade or so. Nice quarterback battle, but I just do not see this one being close here. Seahawks will win this one easy. They improved to 4-4. Week 9 is their bye week. So heading into the bye week, they are 4-4. Not really what you're expecting. Well, I guess kind of, 4-4, 5-3, something along the lines of that for Seattle. I would say at the max 5 wins heading into this week 9 bye. It's what you should expect for the Seattle Seahawks. I have them at 4-4. Week 10 at Green Bay. I don't see them winning this one, despite me thinking that the Packers are slightly overrated. It's very difficult to win at Lambeau Field, and Rodgers, the way he was last season, arguably his best season ever. I think this, it's going to be hard to stop this Packers offense here. The Seattle Seahawks lose this one and drop to 4-5 on the year. Week 11, they host the Arizona Cardinals. This is a possible, I don't know if you call it upset, but potential, win here for the Cardinals. I feel like they're underrated and kind of in not that, far off from the Seahawks. Seahawks' main issue is their offensive line. That kind of is the same case for the Arizona Cardinals as well. They just need to protect Kyler Murray more, just like the Seahawks need to protect Russell Wilson more. I could possibly see an upset here against the Cardinals, but with the experience that Russell Wilson has, I trust him more than Kyler Murray. They get the win here, improved to 5-5 on the year. Week 12 at Washington. I had them getting a win here, despite, like I'm mentioning, the offensive line, how horrendous it is at times, and how great, Washington's defensive line is. It kind of goes back to the quarterback play. You look at, when you win games, I would say 85% of the time when a team wins a game, they have the better quarterback. And I think that's what it's going to come down to this. Russell Wilson against Ryan Fitzpatrick, like that's not even close. Fitzpatrick, to me, is extremely overhyped. He's way more Fitz-tragic than some people call him Fitz-magic, which is pretty laughable. But, I feel like, this will be a low-scoring game. Last year, when the Washington football team played against Russell Wilson, I believe they held him to under 200 passing yards. So I expect this to be a low-scoring game, but I still see Seattle pulling off the victory here and a very impressive road win against the Washington football team. Week 13 against the San Francisco 49ers, I feel confident that, obviously, more than likely, Trey Lance will be starting here in Week 13. This is a home game for Seattle, but I just don't see them winning here. I feel like the 49ers are a very good team that you got to watch out for this year. Like I mentioned, George Kittle, who's a phenomenal tight end, all those young receivers they have. a nice defense. Majority of them coming back from injury last season. Um, I think it might be a long day for Wilson. And even if it's not, I still think it will be hard for Seattle's defense to contain this 49ers offense. With this loss here, they dropped to 6-6 on the year. Week 14 at Houston. I've said this for every single record prediction video I do. The Texans are the easiest game on everybody's schedule. This is an easy one here for the Seattle Seahawks. Easiest game of their schedule. They improved over 500 to 7-6. Week 15 at the LA Rams. I have the Seahawks getting a major upset win against the Rams here. I mentioned every single team has that one game where they go in and they're confident they should win and they just blow it and they absolutely suck. They have that one game they absolutely should not lose. I feel like this is the Rams game. With this being in LA, they obviously have the home field advantage. With all their weapons and offense, Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, the most underrated wide receiver duo in the NFL. I mean, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, they have a tremendous defense. I just feel like Stafford, and them might kind of struggle this game. Their defense might struggle. And, the Seahawks, they have shown at times they are capable of beating the top teams in the league because at times they are one of the top teams in the league. So the Seahawks get a major victory there in Week 15 to improve to 8-6. Week 16 at home against the Chicago Bears. And this is actually another one of those games where I think the Seahawks will just completely mess up, and suck and should not lose, but they do. We saw that last year towards the end of the season. The Seahawks to start off were phenomenal. And Russell Wilson was the MVP candidate, but starting off the Seahawks defense was historically bad. Second half of the season, the defense all of a sudden was amazing, and Russell Wilson was horrible. Like, we've seen the Seahawks, lose games that shouldn't, especially last season. But like this could be one of those games here playing against the Chicago Bears, going up against more than likely Justin Fields here. Just a unexcusable loss here, but I think it is possible for Seattle to drop this game here against Chicago. With this loss, they dropped to 8-7. Week 17 at Detroit. Detroit, they have a great offensive line. I think DeAndre Swift's going to be one of the best running backs in the league this year. I'm very high on him. But that's really about it for Detroit. The Seattle Seahawks going to be playing against Jared Goff, former Rams quarterback. They know Goff's tendencies. I feel like they might make Goff have a long day. He's going to struggle quite a bit. Easy one here against the Detroit Lions. They improved to 9-7, and then at the Arizona Cardinals here in Week 18. They get a victory here in Arizona. Very impressive win. The Cardinals are capable of being a playoff team, in my opinion, but I just do not see them being in the playoffs because how stacked this NFC West division is. With this victory here against the Arizona Cardinals, the Seattle Seahawks improved to 10-7 on the year. That is my final record prediction for the Seattle Seahawks. It's 10-7. If they get 10 or 11 wins, it's very impressive considering how difficult this division is. All four of these teams are playoff contenders. And like I mentioned, the Cardinals, I think they're the worst team. But if you put them in any other division, I honestly believe they are they would be in the playoffs. My ceiling for the Seattle Seahawks is 11-6, and my floor for them is 8-9. None of these NFC West divisional games are easy by any means, but I feel that they're going to get at least a couple and really help their case. Maybe get right around double digits or so wins and possibly sneaking into the playoffs. That really about does it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. And I will see you all next time on the Sports Dude Hine Show.